Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of MCTV's The Middle Seats. I'm Andrew Auger.
I'm Jake Hensler.
The Middle Seats is your source for all things cinema here at Marist College. Our show this week, as always, is divided into 3 segments. We talk about the most interesting news of film this week with the top 5. Then we discuss our feature review, which this week is of the highly anticipated Furious 7. And then we have the inaugural edition of a brand new segment here on the show, Take 2. Take 2 seats, everyone. It's going to be a 0 to 100, ride or die time.
Clever.
I fit a couple things in there.
You did. I was impressed.
So you said you had banter topics today.
I did.
You cornered me in the middle of Lil Thomas and told me you had banter topics.
Yes,
So,
I have a very
what's so
important announcement to make. Andrew Auger has seen Fight Club. He did it. He's done it.
I thought you
He's
were going to
seen
say you're
Fight Club.
pregnant, but okay.
No.
I have seen Fight Club. That's happened, yeah.
Yes, Andrew has finally seen Fight Club.
I did see
What
Fight Club.
are your brief thoughts on it, just so the audience can finally hear?
I mean, it is a really great movie. What was that? No, I really enjoyed. Fincher's one of my favorite filmmakers, and I'm glad that I've finally seen it. Great performances, of course, the twistiness of the plot and everything. Very stylishly directed.
Definitely my favorite Brad Pitt performance.
I don't think it's amazing, or at least the first time I watched it through. I think it will. All right, give me a side eye. I'm allowed to have an opinion.
No,
you know?
I know, of course.
But I think it's a film that will get better on future rewatches. The first time I went through, there was a lot to take in.
Yeah,
and
there's
stuff.
a lot going on.
And I feel like it will benefit from me looking at the different little cues as I go back and watch it. This time through, though, it's a really, really great movie. I just don't think it's a masterpiece. Like it's been
fair.
heralded to me,
That's
and I
fair.
think it could change over time. But this first time around, I did have a couple bones to pick with it.
Yeah, and I know we discussed it. And I know what you mean. But in even bigger news, in all honesty, my co-host Andrew Auger was elected president for MCTV next semester. So, a round of applause for Andrew. He is in fact Mr. President next semester. So, just wanted to on-air congratulate you.
Cool. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you, though. Thank you. Thank you, everyone
viewers
who
back
voted
home.
for me. Really means a lot. Before we can speed into our review of Furious 7, it's time to slam on the brakes, because it's the top 5.
The top 5 are the news stories of the week that we found the most interesting and the best ones to talk about. They're ranked in ascending order.
Hollywood's just so adorable sometimes. Like, I can't even get mad at some of their asinine ideas, like making a battleship movie, or making some of the most iconic films of all time and making them so much worse, or letting Martin Lawrence make 2 sequels to Big Mama's House. Our number 5 story is as stupid as those, but honestly, we ain't even mad. Remember Play-Doh, the hard-earned sand or whatever, that as a child you built things with and resisted the urge to eat? Well, 20th Century Fox presents a feature-length film from the director of Bridesmaids. Paul Feig, who also made 2012's The Heat, this summer's Spy, and is working on that female Ghostbusters movie, is in talks to direct the Hasbro-produced project, which means expect Melissa McCarthy to play the main character of a pile of Play-Doh. I don't know.
A lot of news this week, first of all, but I feel like we're getting a lot of these. It started with the Lego movie, now there's Play-Doh. They're working on, we covered a couple weeks ago, I can't remember what it was, but.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting a lot of
Go back to the last
toys.
few episodes or stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of childhood toys.
There
for
have been
animation and
developments.
whatnot.
There's been developments on a Candyland movie.
Yeah.
Monopoly's been in production for so long.
I wonder who would play the Monopoly guy. I could see
Wilford Brimley,
what?
the diabetes guy.
Oh my god.
I can see it.
almost,
I can see it. If he didn't have
I
diabetes.
could see Bill
but-
Murray doing it. I could see Bill Murray playing Mr. Monopoly.
Bill Murray, he would be a good choice, I think. Here's the thing that kind of concerns me, because this actually kind of brings up a negative about the Lego movie.
Oh.
I mean, obviously I love that movie to death, but the trends that this may start is really
true.
scary.
True.
And I don't like this. I don't like this. Then again, Paul Feig is a talented comedy director. I think him and Melissa McCarthy work well together.
We're gonna get a list of Hasbro movies.
Yeah. Next summer, Slinky. Ryan Gosling is
The
Slinky.
Revenge.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is Pickup Sticks. All right, we're done. I think 3
Daniel
is enough.
Day-Lewis is now Lincoln Logs.
Okay, no one's topping that. Next joke.
Anyway.
Next story.
I think all of the viewers are well aware of my love for recent Best Picture winner Birdman, and it turns out that it's already influencing more films. For our number 4 news story, we have a horror movie coming out next week called Unfriended that was reportedly shot in one take. Now, Birdman was edited to look that way, but apparently Unfriended is the real deal. Well, for being a single take, that is. It only has a runtime of about 80 minutes, but the film is shot entirely on computer screens, so the actors reportedly finished filming within 16 days and accomplished acting out the movie in one take. All they had to do was sit by that computer screen for the duration of the time, and they could even leave if the camera wasn't on them. And for those with further questions, because I would have some, the director would text them during filming to give them direction. We're unsure of how many tries it took, but apparently they got it done. However, there is quite a bit of skepticism on the matter, so no promises on accuracy. But one thing is for sure, long takes to no cuts at all are getting quite a lot of publicity lately. To quote one commentator on the matter, is being shot in one take the new based on a true story?
I guess the publicity that based on a true story gets, even though based on a true story
Yeah.
is almost always wrong.
No, I know. I mean, so many things are like based on a true story nowadays.
Yeah.
But I wonder, that's a very good point. I wonder if like shot in one take is going to be looked at as a lot bigger of a deal now.
Yeah, especially since Birdman, which was one of the biggest pictures of last year, obviously winning the Best Picture award, since it had such success with that, and the way Alejandro Iñárritu did it,
Masterfully,
masterfully,
directed, in my
yeah.
opinion.
So Unfriended is obviously trying to like take some of that publicity and with that connection. I mean, I've heard good things about Unfriended.
Yeah, I heard it's decent.
I've heard it's a decent horror film, and it's got a clever concept.
Yeah, I saw
it's
a movie.
It's not an unprecedented concept. Like we've seen stuff like this before.
Yeah, I saw a movie on Netflix actually called The Den, which is about it's about like meeting people via like video chat and online like chat rooms and stuff like that, and about like a serial killer who uses that to target and find people. And it wasn't bad. It didn't particularly scare me or creep me out per se, but it was a decent movie. I wouldn't not recommend it. And I think this is kind of. I don't think it was released in theaters, but it sounds like Unfriended is a similar basis that will be released into theaters.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see it at least.
And as far as the idea of like how accurate this is and stuff, I do believe they tried to shoot the whole movie in one take, but the way that the stories have been framed, they're saying like, oh, we got this all done in one take. Like we didn't have to try it like 30 times or anything like that.
I'm
But
sure
they
it took
clearly
like
did.
days
Like,
on days because if you're doing it in one take, you mess up anything, you got to redo the whole thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I bet you there was one actor that always messed up.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. Damn it, Jimmy.
He made some lifelong enemies on that set. This is a very technical edition of the Top 5, and that kind of mumbo-jumbo continues here with the number 3 story. As time goes on, we continue to advance our technological abilities as filmmakers and film distributors. In the case of the latter, IMAX debuted their new laser projection system last week at the TCL Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, California, for screenings of Furious 7. That theater, which is already the 3rd biggest IMAX screen in North America and holds more people than any other IMAX theater in the world, will debut the project that IMAX has been working on for a better part of 2 years now, as far as we know, probably longer. This means better contrast and clearer imagery, more immersive audio, and more of a dedication to the dying art of hard film versus digital projection. It's all very complicated, but all you need to know is that IMAX is working to making their already unparalleled experience even more revolutionary. Have you ever been to an actual IMAX movie?
Long time ago, but yes.
What was it? Was it like one of the planetariums?
I think it was
things?
Yeah, I think it was one of those. I think it was like an animated like Santa Claus versus the Snowman.
Monkeys in Space,
Not
2000.
Not even.
Animated Santa Claus?
I
What?
think it was like
I think it was
like animated Santa Claus versus the Snowman, but it wasn't like actually violent.
That movie sucks, but we'll talk about that later.
You saw it?
I have seen that.
Yeah, I think I saw that, and I think I saw a couple other things in IMAX. I don't really remember, but it's been a while.
I've been to a real IMAX theater twice. I saw Night at the Museum back in 2006 on there, which is a very weird movie to see on a real IMAX theater.
Okay.
And I saw Skyfall a couple years ago, which
That's fair.
which was
That's
really
fair.
cool. There's no experience like an actual IMAX theater. You have the ones that are in the AMCs and the Regals that are IMAX, but they're actually Limax. I didn't patent that. That's a term that's been used a lot. I said that really weird.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I got it. Anyway.
An actual IMAX experience is unlike anything, especially when films are shot with IMAX cameras, like The Dark Knight Rises or something like that, or they are immersive in their sound and stuff, and they have specific sequences that are shot for that. This is a very interesting idea that we're going to continue to technologically advance as far as this goes.
I really hope this kind of like spreads and stuff, because I would love to see like almost anything with formatting like that, like laser. That's just, I don't even sure I quite comprehend what that is, to be honest.
I can't wait for the day where we can shoot whole movies, whole feature-length films on IMAX cameras, because we can't do that now because it's too expensive. But there's going to be a day where IMAX is still a big technology, but it's not as like expensive, and we're going to see a Batman versus Superman film all in IMAX, and that's going to be like beautiful.
Let's get on to Bill Gates. Come on.
Bill Gates, what is he?
Leave
him out of this.
It's like top 5 richest people all like around.
Yeah, but I don't even think he leaves his computer. Why would he go to movies?
No, but he's got to help.
All right, Bill Gates.
I remember Superman.
Bill Gates, get on it. Whatever.
All right, anyway. My high school coach used to say towards the end of each season, quality over quantity. That's becoming apparent in the modern world. I don't know about the rest of you, but I love Blu-ray players. There are some movies I have to own on Blu-ray. There are also some movies I refuse to watch on my laptop for quality purposes. I love good quality for films. We went from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray, and the next big thing might just be here. A company called Prima Cinema has created a system that allows people to watch movies opening in theaters in the comfort of their very own home. The major problem with this is it costs about the same as many college tuitions, $35,000. Not to mention $500 for each rental. It does come with multiple fail-safes to ensure great quality, but with great cost as well. They also require that you pre-buy 10 films right off the bat, so it's basically $40,000 when you first buy the software. It also can't be moved to any other location, otherwise the hardware shuts down. But hey, the future's here, right? So I like there's a lot of big technological stuff in the news today, and there's a lot coming out, which is good and it's exciting. But like, come on, $35,000. Like, who's gonna?
I think that the number 3 story goes really well with the number 2 story.
Yeah.
Number 3 story is about advancing the theater experience. Number 2 story is like, forget about the theater experience.
Right.
Like, if you're a millionaire, you can have that in your own home. But we're not all millionaires, and I think this is a cool idea, but $35,000 is just ridiculous.
Yeah, like
I'd rather just pay 11 and see it with some annoying people around me.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
$11, not 11,000.
Yeah. If they bring down the price and they make it more accessible, because there is going to be a time, I would say, what do you say, like 75? That might be too much. A percentage of people that have flat screen TVs in their home.
Oh, the good amount now.
Good amount. Yeah. I wouldn't. 75 is too much. We don't know about like the poverty line and stuff.
I mean, I have no idea.
I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but
I know. I'm like getting like a tearful over here, but.
Anyways, my point is, people are starting to pick home video on demand and Blu-ray over going to the theater.
Even Apple TV, Netflix.
Apple TV,
it's taking over a lot.
Absolutely, and the way TV is catching up to film, as far as like Game of Thrones and shows like that, True Detective, and
Daredevil
all those.
Daredevil
on
Netflix.
On Netflix, we got a sponsor for that. But yeah, but here's the thing: nothing will ever beat the theater experience for me.
No, and I agree.
And I think as good an idea this is, in concept, it's not. It's going to phase out because nobody can afford it, and 2. You can go to an IMAX theater with laser projection.
Right, exactly. One of my best friends, Kat, she likes movies here and there, but she doesn't like going to the movie theater. She thinks the chairs are uncomfortable, people are loud, they're kind of dirty. She prefers watching movies at her own home.
2 of those 3 things are right. The chairs are awesome there. Are you kidding me?
This is her words, not mine. But this would fit perfectly for her if it wasn't $35,000. So it's good for some people. It's fitting for some people, but like. Let's think about the price here, people.
She better drop out of college if she wants to try that.
I'll let her know.
Spoilers have always been a touchy subject in the film world. I fluctuate between 2 frames of mind on them. On one hand, in many cases, the mark of a good film is not based on whether or not it's only good because it can be spoiled. Now, there are exceptions, like thrillers with huge twists or something like that, like The Sixth Sense or Fight Club or whatever. But for the most part, a good movie is a good movie, regardless of whether you know the ending or not. Having said that, knowing things also can take away the surprise of the movie-going experience. If you're one of those people who intentionally spoil films for people, you should be given a life sentence without parole in the asshole emporium. But there are those people out there, and our top story tonight is about the brave souls working so hard to stop them. The company in question is Google, as they are currently working on a computer software that will recognize television and movies that you are interested in or watch, then scan each web page for spoilers on those topics and blur out any potential ruiners. This goes mainly for social media pages, where the most spoiling can be done.
I'm very glad this was our top news story because when I read this, I was like, that's a fantastic idea. And what better company than Google? Biggest search engine, one of the most powerful companies out there, and it's brilliant. Like I remember I was just a couple days ago talking to somebody about Game of Thrones is coming back on Sunday,
right?
And they were saying they might just wait until it all ends and watch it on HBO. And I was like, then you can't go on the internet for 10 weeks.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
You can't go on the internet. You're screwed.
Especially for a show that's so spoiler heavy as Game of Thrones. Yeah.
It doesn't get any bigger spoiler heavy than that.
Yeah, because there are people, I highlighted the assholes that actually spoil it on purpose. Hate those people.
Awful.
Life sentence. But they're also the people that accidentally, they don't even realize that they're actually spoiling something. Like they just don't know any better, some people.
Some people.
And it's kind of cute to see. Like I'll just be like, oh, you just spoiled that movie for like 1,000 people. I'm so sorry. But also, this will help prevent that. And this is a really, really useful tool, I think.
Yeah, no, I think this is going to be great. If this is like really going to happen, really going to work and done right, I think this is awesome for anybody who likes TV, film, and everything else like that. Like last year, I introduced 2 of our roommates, Joey, Kyle, and Christine, to Fight Club. They knew nothing about it, never seen it before, and all 3 were like, wow. And I was like, yes. I felt like I accomplished something for like them not having known anything. It was just like, so delightful. But like,
you're living your happiness through them.
Oh yeah,
that's not healthy. I think there's a book on that. Is that like The Secret or whatever? Have you ever read that?
No, I haven't. No.
Chicken Soup for the Soul or The Secret, either one. This will help your own like crisis that you're going through.
Anyway, it's really nice to see, in my personal opinion, great movies like Fight Club with brilliant endings to be shown to people who aren't aware of them. And I don't know, I just love when that kind of stuff happens. Usual Suspects is another one, Sixth Sense is another one. It's just, love that kind of stuff. So anyway, as we finish the top 5, the light switches from red to green. It's time to rev into our review of Furious 7. Andrew, do not slow down.
I won't, Jake, don't worry. There's a point early on in Furious 7 where Brian O'Connor, played by the late Paul Walker, and his son Jack are getting in a car. Jack is playing with a toy car, and as he plays, he throws the car out of his seat and onto the front lawn. Brian responds with, "Cars don't fly, buddy." This is the makers of Furious 7 trying to explain to us how cars work, but watching the rest of the film, it's clear they have no regards for the basic laws of physics. Cars do fly in the Fast and Furious series, and fans of the recent installment of the franchise wouldn't have it any other way. Has there ever been a series like this in Hollywood history? I would wager no, as the Furious franchise sets itself apart from the Avengers, James Bonds, and Harry Potters of the world in its ethnically diverse, globally conscious, self-aware adrenaline rushes of mayhem and chaos. Especially in the better installments, particularly 2011's Fast 5 and 2013's Fast and Furious 6, it's a series that is here to blow things up and defy gravity, Wicked style. There are obvious positives and obvious negatives that come with that, but if you're walking into a Fast and Furious movie, you need to expect that. As long as these films are satisfying and pushing the limits of popcorn entertainment, then I am willing to forgive, like a priest at confession. Furious 7 is certainly the most ambitious and overstuffed installment of the franchise, finding the series at a crossroads. The untimely death of Walker back in November of 2013 made this a particularly tricky film to make, so it's a testament that Furious 7 never feels distracted or hindered. Director James Wan and the impeccably game cast rallied around the tragedy to deliver yet another blow-by-blow masterclass in machismo and ridiculousness, delivering to record-breaking audiences what may be their finest and most emotionally satisfying installment yet. The plot mechanics mean so little and honestly frustrate if you dwell on them, so let's just put our foot on the gas through the synopsis. Furious 7 picks up where the 6th installment left off, with Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, and his misfit crew of former international outlaws trying to get their back into their stateside life. For Dom, that means helping Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez, remember their past life. For Brian, that means adjusting to family life with Dom's sister Mia, played by Jordana Brewster. And for everyone else, characters played by Ludacris and Tyrese Gibson, the main source of comic relief here, that means just laying low. Their chances of laying low are squandered when Ghost MI6 operative Deckard Shaw, played by Jason Statham, the brother of the main antagonist from Furious 6, comes looking for revenge. He murders series favorite Han, put Hobbs, played by Dwayne Johnson, in a hospital bed and is now coming for his revenge. The gang must reunite for one last ride in order to get their own revenge, to become the hunter as opposed to the hunted. It's really only the driving force of the story, as there's so much more. We, of course, have the whole business with shady CIA operative Mr. Nobody, played by Kurt Russell, who's having a ball here, who recruits Dom and his team to locate and extract a device known as God's Eye, which is basically everything Edward Snowden has nightmares about. There's a secondary villain, Jakande, played by Jijimon Hansu, who wants the God's Eye for himself and has kidnapped the creator of the device, a mysterious figure only known as Ramsey, in order to locate it. Maybe the stupidest story to a Fast and Furious installment yet, which, considering that this is the series that has a landmark sequence where a giant bank safe is dragged through Rio de Janeiro, that's something. The story is stupid, the dialogue is cringeworthy, the runtime excessive, the cameos and lack of continuity distracting at points. But that action, oh my God, that action. After about 25 minutes, Furious 7 stops walking and begins to sprint. The film struts from one country to the next, leaving explosions, amazing hand-to-hand fights, and insane stunts, some practical, some heavily CGI'd, in its swaggering path. It is an action movie, wish fulfillment after wish fulfillment, a film that understands escalation in spades and is able to continue topping itself. For point and reference, you know that scene in the trailer where the cars are falling out of the airplane? That's within the first 40 minutes and is topped only moments later by an exhilarating car chase. Juan, who takes over from series regular Justin Lin, is almost balletic in his camera movement. Everything is clear and precisely shot with a calculated effort to deliver all the fun that comes from watching The Rock and Jason Statham go mano-a-mano, or watching a gorgeous-looking car jump from not one, but 2 skyscrapers. Once Furious 7 has blown its metaphorical wad with action, it settles itself for a touching finale. I've never found Paul Walker the best actor in the world, but his importance to the franchise cannot be understated. The clear bond that this cast shares clearly sells the theme of family and love that the series prides itself upon. This makes the final goodbye all the more poignant. It feels less like a film and more like a eulogy. The film does an excellent job of never becoming distracted with the needed alterations because of Walker's death, except when it becomes okay to become distracted by the elephant in the room and pay tribute. Paul Walker, we will see you again. As for the Furious franchise, if they can continue to live up to the high mark that this one leaves on, then strap me in for many more last rides.
Nicely said.
Thanks.
In the beginning, you brought up a couple points that I didn't even think about. They do touch kind of like globally, and they really do appeal to pretty much all kinds of audiences. Whether you think they're ridiculous or not, because let's be honest, they are ridiculous, but they do appeal, and you almost can't not have fun during the movies.
Agreed.
Now, I only saw Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6. Both I thought were pretty good. Admittedly, I don't like them as much as a lot of other people do. I thought they were both okay, but Furious 7, I legitimately liked. It's a legitimately good movie. It's easily my favorite. I think it's the best out of the 3 that I have seen now. And James Wan, bravo. I think James Wan, known for Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring, typically horror stuff, some of the low-key stuff. I think he grabbed his first action movie and just nailed it. I think he did a great job directing it. And like you said with the camera movement, beautiful camera movement. It could have easily just been lazy. It could have been shot like one way. It could have been done this way, you know, like average or normal or typical. He put the extra effort into it, and it paid off really, really well.
I agree with all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see that this is a James Wan film, especially if you compare it to The Conjuring or Insidious or something like that.
I recognize some of his camera movements. I want them becoming trademarks now.
Yeah.
I've seen him do that in other movies.
The
but
film
it looks really good.
is just really good at satisfying its audience's needs. Like, it plays around with different hand-to-hand fight concepts. I didn't even talk about Tony Jaa's in the film. I don't know if you know who Tony Jaa is, but he's a very big martial artist in Asian cinema. And he goes mano-a-mano with Paul Walker a couple times.
In the bus.
Those are fantastic scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yes, very, very cool.
Yeah, the only Asian in the film.
Oh, all right.
And then Ronda Rousey and Michelle Rodriguez, Rousey, the MMA fighter, they mix it up a little bit. Statham and Diesel go at it a couple times. It's like every combination that you want to see.
Yeah, but they do it well, and it's all very well choreographed, between hand-to-hand fights to car chases to, I'm not going to spoil anything else, but like the action scenes are very well, not only written, but choreographed. And I hate when action movies try to get too much into the action. It becomes a little chaotic. You don't know what's going on. This does not do that, and I love it. It does it very, very well. Yes, it gets ridiculous. It gets absurd. But like Furious 5 and 6 do, I think Furious 7 escalates, but I think it just works better. However it's done, whatever they did with it, I can't quite put my finger on it, but for me it just worked better. I didn't find myself saying like, oh, come on.
I think it might be James Wan, and I think it might be the emotional impact that this one has, which, let's be honest,
I think a lot of it's James Wan.
They do a really, really good job of hammering the emotional part of this home. There's a lot of pathos in this one as compared to the other ones. Well, they were trying to sell the idea of family. In those other ones, it didn't work as much as it did here, and that might be because of real-life events really helped that. But honestly, I think I was touched. I was touched by the ending, and I really enjoyed it.
Like you said, the elephant in the room, that's a tough thing to do, and it's a tough situation to handle when it happens during filming and everything like that. And I think it was well thought, well executed, just overall well done. And I think it's kind of what I expected them to do, but it was just, it fit. It was very fitting, very well done way to do it.
The writing in a couple of key sequences feels less like a movie. I don't want to say a eulogy again, but more like this is exactly what they would say if he was still here.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, and
I really enjoyed that.
That is really key to making us feel something, and I really felt something.
Yeah, at the end I was like, like really well done, really well handled, but like, ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
So I think we should get into our ratings.
Well, one
and then-
last thing I want
yeah.
to touch on is, and I found this in Fast 5, 6, and 7. The villain, I feel like the villains don't do enough, personally.
Agreed.
I think Jason Statham's a phenomenal action movie actor, and I feel like he was kind of underwritten, underused. He's there to do a bunch of badass things, but like I expected him to do a lot more.
That's kind of what I was expecting. Honestly, like
Okay.
the villains in these films are just kind of useless.
Yeah,
He's
and
the I think he's the best one so far.
Yeah, out
He
of the
goes
ones that I've
toe-to-toe
seen, definitely,
for-
he's the best one so
Yeah.
far. But I would have liked to see more. He's more like in the way than anything.
Yeah, he just kind of shows up at points.
Yeah,
which I really love. I
Which
think that's
it's-
hysterical.
It is. It is funny, but
yeah.
like someone like Jason Statham, I would like to see him do a little bit more than appear, beat some people up, and then like leave. So anyway,
Okay.
with that being said,
With
we
ratings
go
and final
ratings.
thoughts, you wanna go?
I think I gave Furious 7 a 7.
You get a 7, yeah.
And I'm content with that. I think Fast 5 and 6 are a little below, maybe at a 6-ish for me. But I'm comfortable with the 7. It's good. It's very enjoyable. Obviously, you don't go to these movies for a story, so I'm not going to like get into that. But
The whole God's Eye thing just kind of was.
yes,
like,
that was a bit
this
much,
is
and it was a
kinda
bit
si- this is so silly.
unnecessary too.
Yeah.
It didn't really need to happen. So it's not a perfect.
It's
movie,
really
but
weird
it's
how
good.
it feels. I feel like it's like two of the movies put together, and somehow it doesn't get that distracting.
No,
I mean,
it doesn't.
it's overstuffed for sure, but
It's a little long.
like the
but-
Deckard Shaw stuff doesn't really hurt the mercenary stuff, and vice versa, and it kind of intersects at some point. I gave it an 8. I'm a little bit more like forgiving, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's very fun.
I would say it's my favorite of the series. I've seen it twice now.
Out of the 3
and
that I've seen, it's my favorite too.
It's really close between this 6 and 5. I think they're all stacked together, and then 1 through 4 I can take or leave, kind of honestly.
Yeah, 5 and 6 are a little separated for me, but
Yeah. 5 is I give 5 a lot of credit because that's what turned it around for me.
okay. See, that's
Yeah.
where I started. So for me, it was just like
5 was a
it's
big
fine.
surprise in that summer where it came out. But yeah, if you're one of the 3 people in the whole world that has not seen Furious 7, go out and see it. I would highly
Yeah, I
recommend
would
it.
definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that'll do it for our review of Furious 7, which almost everyone in the country saw this past weekend.
Furious 7's opening was the 9th best of all time, and if the Furious franchise wasn't already a box office juggernaut, it certainly is now.
Speaking of box office juggernauts, Andrew and I have seen a lot of movies between us, which means there is a possibly unfair assumption from us that everyone has seen the films we deem some of the most famous films of all time.
However, that is certainly not always the case. For every 10 people that have seen Avatar, 1 knows nothing about it. And that's where our third segment comes in.
Dedicated members of the Middle Seats crew, John Perna and Danny Horbiak, wanted to see what would happen if they asked a, let's say, unknowledgeable on the subject source about some of the most famous films of all time. The answers they got back were quite honestly hysterical.
Here's the first edition of a hopefully recurring segment here on the Middle Seats. Take 2. Guys, what do you got for us?
Thank you, Andrew and Jake, for having us on your show this evening. I'm John Perna.
And I'm Danny Horbiak. We're here to show our little segment we like to call Take 2, a second look at some of the most popular films of all time, told by people with some creative perspectives. Let's take a look.
Take 2.
We're Kaylin Olhoff. How you doing, Kaylin?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, John?
I'm doing pretty good. Have you ever seen Star Wars?
Bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies to Star Wars fans.
Well, I'm going to ask you several questions right now about Star Wars.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Go for it.
All right. Do you know how many episodes there are?
I believe 8.
8? Okay. So, I'm going to show you a few pictures right now
Okay.
to quiz you on characters. Are
Sounds
you ready?
good. Absolutely.
Okay. Can you tell me who this is?
That's the little teddy bear.
The little teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know who that is?
That is the Oscar.
The Oscar. This is something in real life. He's an
Yeah.
actual... Okay.
Yeah.
All right, next.
That is the Yeti.
The Yeti.
Yes.
The Yeti. Do you know where they found the Yeti?
The Dark Forest.
Dark Forest. Okay, sounds right.
That's Dobby.
Dobby. Dobby.
Yep.
Dobby.
Yes.
You're good. Do you know what that is?
That is Jake.
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 Okay.
Jake's a fun character.
Jake. He's fun.
He is.
He's-
He looks like a partier. I think
Yeah.
he'd be fun to go to a party
You think he's
with.
a good guy or a bad guy?
He looks like a bad guy.
Bad guy. So
But like
he's
he's like the fun guy, the fun bad guy at the party. That's what he is. And in the movie too.
Okay. Last one.
Last one. Oh man, this is a tough one. I'm trying to remember. Bobby.
Bobby, okay. So
Bobby.
we have Jake, Dobby, the Yeti, and Bobby.
Yes.
They sound like a cool gang of
Yeah,
people.
they
I'm
do.
not gonna lie.
They also rhyme. I don't know if you noticed that. But...
So, I have some more questions for you. Star Wars.
Fantastic. All right.
Do you know why Darth Vader wears a suit?
He's undercover. He's like a spy almost.
He's a spy. Do you, who does
no,
he work for?
no, he's not like he's like a spy and then
But
he's
he's
undercover.
Okay. Well, that's all the Star Wars questions we have. So we're gonna move on to something more up to date. The Avengers.
Okay.
Do you know who Iron Man is?
Yes, I do.
What metal makes up his suit?
Platinum.
Platinum makes up Iron Man.
Yes.
How did Bruce Banner become the Hulk?
I'm fairly certain he was like a mad scientist and like an experiment went wrong and chemicals got onto him or he drank them.
Okay, so he drank something.
Some sort of chemical.
Drink something. Do you know the Hulk's famous catchphrase?
I'm gonna crush you.
I'm going to crush you. Crush you. Can you name the rest of the Avengers team?
Iron Man, the Hulk, Hawkeye,
Okay.
Aquaman,
Aquaman.
Superman, Spider-Man. I believe that's it. I believe.
Okay, Aquaman.
Yes.
Who's the leader of the group, would you say?
Hawkeye.
Okay, Hawkeye leads the
Oh,
Avengers.
Captain America. That's one of them too.
So, Captain America leads the group or Hawkeye?
I'm gonna stick with Hawkeye.
Hawkeye is the
It's a cool
leader
name.
of the Avengers.
Yes.
What's his superpower?
He can shoot arrows.
Shooting arrows.
Yes,
superpower.
really accurately.
Really? Okay.
Very accurately.
So, like, no ordinary man can shoot arrows straight. Can you explain Thor's background? Where does he come from? What does he do?
He is from a very far away universe. Because there are multiple universes.
Do you know the name of his hammer?
Lightning.
Lightning. Okay. Do you remember who Loki is then?
Loki is his adopted brother.
Adopted?
Adopted.
We got more than 10
Who's
seconds.
very
Probably about
evil.
All right.
30.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. I want to thank you for coming out here
Thank you
and
very much
answering
for
all the
having
questions
me.
and
Yeah.
teaching me so much about these movies.
I'm so glad.
Thank you guys for watching us, and tune in next time.
Really?
well
that was very enlightening.
Well done. I liked it.
Okay, so what do you think of this?
I mean, I personally get a lot of joy when people just don't quite know all the movie stuff, and it's just kind of funny.
Honestly, I
makes me laugh.
give her props because I kind of liked some of those answers. Those were funny.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she wasn't totally off.
She
on
wasn't
some
that
of them
far
either.
off,
On
honestly.
some of them.
Yeah. And I
It's funny
appreciate
to
her
watch.
putting out her lack of knowledge out there.
And
yeah.
confidently too.
Yeah, and a great
Confidently,
job
like,
by John and Danny producing
yes,
that.
thank you guys.
I look
Editing.
forward to seeing future installments of that. I think because it's always interesting to see what other people think of cinema.
Yeah,
You know.
Definitely.
Well, it's time to put this episode of MCTV's The Middle Seats into park.
As always, if you have a question or comment for the show, our email address is below. Also like us on Facebook. Next week, it's looking like we are going to be discussing the highly buzzed horror flick, It Follows.
That was for you. I was trying to surprise you with that. That will do it for us. I'm Andrew Roger.
I'm Jake. Keep that seat warm, everyone. We'll be back before the cops can pull us over for speeding through the week too quickly.
Damn right, I'm going to speed through the week too quickly.